Hi friends, this is our fourth lecture on the Ailing Planet, the Green Movement's Role by Nani Palkhivala, a constitutional expert. You will find in this part of the article is quoting from the Constitution of India. So he was a constitutional expert. Now, as we are usual, as it is our usual practice, we will go through our words, vocabulary, strength is vocabulary, collapse, sudden fall. Yesterday, I saw a building collapsing. Sometimes human beings collapse. In the sense that you are suffering, suppose you have got a high BP, then you will collapse. Means you fall down, sudden fall down, collapse. Convert into means change into. We can convert our waste time into constructive time. We are wasting a lot of time. So that time can be changed into, converted into constructive purposes. As I writing poems or writing novels, okay, academic purpose and so on. Deteriorate, become worse. The condition of the patient became deteriorated. The condition of the patient became, condition of the patient was deteriorating. Means becoming worse, going to die, sinking. Decimated. Decimated means remove large portion. Deci, not 10, decem, Latin. So a large portion means not one by one, but large portions you remove. That is decimated. Deforestation, by way of deforestation, the forests, Indian forests, any forest for example, Indian forests are decimated, means large portions are removed by cutting down trees, decimated. Then extinction, extinct means become nil, disappear, total disappearance, extinction. Many species are now undergoing extinction. Say for example, you remember that the dinosaurs, extinction of dinosaurs. Yes. Then precede means come before. Classes come before, precede exams. Classes precede exam. Coaching programs precede exams. They come before exams. Parents precede children. They come before children. Patrimony, that means inheritance from your father, patrimony. That is, the prodigal son wasted his patrimony. Understand? He wasted his patrimony. Then eroding means gradual disappearance of something. Soil erosion, you have heard of soil erosion. Because of unscientific farming, soil erosion can take place. So, soil erosion is, eroding of soil is happening in our unscientific, because of our unscientific way of cultivation, erosion. This happens with the values also, erosion of values, disappearance of values. You can say in 20th century, these days, values are eroding. We are living in an era of erosion of values, disappearance of values. Anybody and everybody can lie, steal, or all those things. Copying in the exam, that is another erosion of values. Deprives somebody. Deprives means prevent somebody from using something. Depriving. Some days the poor are deprived of their rights to the soil. The poor are deprived of. Bonded laborers are deprived of their right to the soil, right to cultivation, deprived of. Orphans are deprived of parents' love. Orphans are deprived of parents' love. They cannot enjoy love of parents. Cope with means deal with. Very difficult to deal with boisterous children. Boisterous means always noisy. Noisy means too much noise. Children should make noise. Otherwise, how can you call them children? You should at times make noise, otherwise you are dead nowadays. So, but if it is too much, it's difficult to cope with some of the problems in life. It's difficult. Then safeguard means protect. Parents safeguard the rights of the children. Parents safeguard the rights of the children. I think it is clear from the sentences. So we can, I will go through this once again, because once you know this, it becomes very easy. You can straight away enter into the text. Collapse means a sudden fall. Yesterday I saw a man collapsing in the market. Convert into means change into. Many people convert waiting time, waiting for train or bus, into reading time. You can see now some people standing in the deteriorate means become worse. See the condition of some patients are deteriorating in the hospital. Decimated means remove large portions. The Indian forests are being decimated by cutting wood, cutting trees. Extinction. So some species have become and are undergoing extinction. Proceed, come before. Parents come. Parents precede children. Patrimony. So if I get my patrimony, I will use it in a proper way. Eroding. Values are now eroding. Deprives. Children should not be deprived of their rights. To cope with. You should be able to cope with any problems in life. To safeguard means look after. We should safeguard the rights of the students. So the main points today you can see: for life-sustaining systems, fisheries, forests, grasslands and croplands are becoming unsustainable. Means they are slowly becoming extinct. Overfishing for protein needs collapses fisheries. Collapses, sudden fall in catching fish. Means the fish stock, there is a sudden fall. Cutting down trees for firewood destroys forests. Very simple. If you cut down it, that is decimate large portions of forests. Use of cowdung cake. Cowdung cake, in some places they do use for firewood, deprives the soil of natural fertilizer. Cowdung is a natural fertilizer. If you are using it for firewood, then you cannot use it for cultivation. The consequence is desert. Deforestation will definitely lead to desertification. Deforestation, desertification. Deforestations precede desertification. Desertification follow. Then Constitution provides laws to protect the environment, but many of the laws they remain only in paper. A sad fact. It's a sad fact. They remain only. Most of the laws remain in paper. We don't enforce because we don't know what is this. Okay, so here we begin. I think it's very simple for doing today because these things are already seen. When this happens, this means when fisheries, forests, grasslands and croplands become unsustainable, fisheries collapse. There is a sudden fall. Means practically the fish stock will become very small. Or it will disappear, so to say. Forests disappear. Grasslands are converted into barren wastelands and croplands deteriorate. Croplands, barren wasteland means desert, and croplands deteriorate means they become worse, their situation. In a protein conscious and protein hungry world, overfishing, excessive fishing, excess of anything is bad, even elixir is bad. Elixir, amrita, yes, is common every day. So catching fish, not only for your needs but for other things. Protein needs also, but for exporting, for business and so on. That will, fisheries will collapse. In poor countries, local forests are being decimated, removed in large portions in order to procure firewood for cooking. Procure means get. To get something. To procure firewood for cooking. So today you see a flourishing forest. After 2 years you go there, revisit the same place, you will find that it is a desert. That is, deforestation leads to desertification. In some places, firewood has become so expensive, unable to purchase. See, you are taxing your purse, but still you cannot. Then what goes under the pot now, that means firewood, costs more than what goes inside. If you compare the rates of rice or wheat, that is your food, and the firewood, then the fuel or the firewood, that will cost more than your wheat or rice that you are using for eating, cooking and eating. Some people eat raw rice also. Since the tropical forest is, in the words of Dr. Myers, a famous British environmentalist who specialized in biodiversity, Dr. Myers, the powerhouse of evolution, several species of life face extinction as a result of its extinction. The forest is the powerhouse of evolution. If evolution should take place according to Dr. Myers, there should be forest. Because you have biodiversity there, you have species. Already we have seen millions, we have not even catalogued. If no forest, they cannot live, they become extinct. Extinction of forest is equal to extinction of species. Very dangerous situation. My dear friends, this was written in 1994. Now think of today. We are now in 2020. Think of today. And what happens after 1994? All the environmentalists and people specialized in biodiversity, etc., they pointed out these things as early as 1994 or before. What of that? What a tragic situation today that we find. Result of its extinction. It has been well said that forests precede mankind, deserts follow. But desert is man-made. Forests, before we were born, forests were there. So forests precede, come before, and deserts come after, because of our actions. The world's ancient patrimony of tropical forest. So the tropical forest, that is a patrimony that we inherited from whom? From our father, created. That is, tropical forest is now eroding, disappearing, slowly disappearing, like erosion of valleys, soil erosion, these are common words, at the rate of 40 to 50 million acres a year. Understand? Tropical forests are disappearing at a rate of 40 to 50 million acres a year. And the growing use of dung, cowdung cake, for burning deprives the soil of an important natural fertilizer. If you are using cakes with cowdung and use it for cooking, it's a fuel purposes, then from where will you get this natural fertilizer? The two reasons are there. One is depriving or large portions of, that is already said, 40 to 50 million acres a year disappearing of forests. Plus, you are not using cowdung for cultivation, but you are using it for fuel, for cooking. The world estimates that a 5-fold increase in the rate of demand, in the rate of forest planting is needed. If you are clearing 1 acre of forest for firewood or any such things, what should you do? You should plant 5 acres. If you are cutting one tree for firewood, you should plant at least 50, minimum at least 5, or at least 1. Understand that? At least 1. I would say 50, but if we cannot, okay, 1 will be. At least 1. It's better than not doing anything. Isn't it? Yes. Therefore, so you have it. So it is, the world's estimate that 5-fold increase in the rate of forest planting is needed to cope with, to deal with, to face. Cope with means to face, to deal with the expected fuel food demands in the year 2000. Now we are in 2020. Fuel food demand means food and fuel. Demand of fuel and food of fuel. For you want to balance, you have 5 times of cultivation is required. Understand? Planting of trees is required. And that's the estimate. James Pett, the president of the World's Resources Institute, said the other day, we were saying that we are losing the forest at an acre a second, but it is much clearer, closer to an acre and a half to a second. So that is the speed with which the forests are disappearing. In 1 second, what happens? There your forest, 1 acre of forest disappears. He says it is not like that, that estimate is wrong. The correct estimate is in 1 second, 1.5 acre of forests are being destroyed. Understand? Or cutting down trees. And then he speaks about Nani Palkhivala, as I told you at the beginning of this class. He was a constitutional expert. So now he is harping on or referring to the Constitution. What are the provisions in the Constitution? Prof. Mathew, he himself says. He says, Article 48A of the Constitution of India provides that the state shall try to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. It is written very clearly in the 48A article. It is the duty of the state to protect the forests, to protect wildlife, and also to protect, safeguard the rights of the forests and wildlife. But what causes endless anguish? Anguish means pain, terrible pain, anguish, is the fact that laws are never respected or enforced in India. I think it's not only in India, in many places it is like that. You are not putting it into practice. You are not using force to implement the law. This happens. There are laws. He gives examples, for instance, the Constitution says that caste system, then untouchability, that is, you know, that these things are known to you, and bonded labor, slaves, a kind of slaves, bonded labor, shall be abolished, put an end to, but they flourish shamelessly even after even after years of the operation of the Constitution. The Constitution came in India, became a republic, etc. Now how many years now? But still these things are going. So he is lamenting the fact that although we have got laws and Constitution lays down laws, Article 48, they clearly state that it is the duty of the state to protect the forest, to protect wildlife, to protect the fertility of the lands, cropland, safeguard grasslands. Then put limits to fishing and also limits to cutting down trees for firewood. In case you do it, then you have to compensate it by planting. But what of that is of no use? Because it is not enforced. Isn't it? If a student misbehaves in the class, the teacher has the right to dismiss him. Not now, once upon a time. Then nobody does that. We tolerate. Especially student-teacher relationship, there is a lot of space for tolerating. Understand? And that is needed also. Not only that you should, you don't put that into practice, don't implement such kind of thing. Because this is human relations. Understand? Human relations. Okay, that's maybe a point of dispute. I don't want to enter into that. So these are the main points today. So already we have seen the main points once again. 4 life-sustaining systems, fisheries, forests, grasslands and croplands are becoming unsustainable because of overuse. Fisheries collapsing, forests disappearing, grasslands becoming desert, and croplands have become infertile, barren. Overfishing for protein needs collapses fisheries. Already we have seen. Cutting down trees and one after another destroys forest. Use of cowdung destroys soil fertility. Then consequence is, as I already told you, deforestation leads to the desertification. And lastly, the constitution is written there but of no use. Because, and also you can see when the forests are disappearing, it is our duty to plant, when you are using or when you are cutting down trees in an acre of land, you are supposed to plant another 5 acres of land. So let us for the time being stop here at this optimistic point that we will do something to protect the fisheries, forests, grasslands and also croplands. And before that, let us have some anti-code matter here. Mass prevents the killer, distance prevents the killer, cleanliness prevents the killer, healthy life prevents the killer. Prevention is better than cure. Bye. Have a nice day.